we're going to be putting this engine together today. I got a lot of parts that are still out in the car, so I may actually need to, sort of go back and forth a little bit to actually grab things. But we're gonna see if we can get you guys set up so that you can see us putting the engine together. Now, so far, I do have to get this other header on. I got some fresh gaskets, just came in, so I'm gonna put these gaskets on, and then we're gonna go ahead try to put the front and rear timing cover on. That way we can actually start making a little bit more progress on this engine. Hopefully taking off these bolts and everything don't take me too long. And hopefully we'll start making some progress pretty quick, because I know that you guys want to see the progress more so than anything else. Now I will say, I'm ready to have this car back, I swear. I'm so ready to have this car back. Like I mentioned, we do have some Jim Wolf Technology cams up here. Real beefy cams. If you guys have seen any of the shorts on my channel, you'll know that these cams are absolutely massive. So we're gonna try to go ahead and get these off so that we can put the gasket on. And guys, if you're into like car content, whether it's builds, whether it's reviews or anything like that, make sure that you guys go check out some of the shorts on the channel. And like I said, if it's your thing, man, subscribe. We love building up the community, fam. Because it's not just me, guys, it's y'all too. So if you're into this type of content, make sure that you guys go hit that subscribe button. I know it doesn't look like we're doing a whole lot right now. Like I mentioned, for those of you who may just be joining the live, we do need to, probably gonna blow off some of this just so I make sure I don't have any debris. But we do need to actually put this rear timing cover on. Now I did custom fabricate these headers just because they don't really make headers for, get a mosquito. They don't really make headers for my application. So in all honesty, the only way for me to really get any headers was for me to make them myself. So that's what I decided to do. We got some 2-inch headers. I know that the welds on them isn't the best, guys. Trust me, I know. But the welds should hold. Now, many of you that may be like new to the channel don't realize this car was actually up and running. What happened was I blew a head gasket. At least I believe I blew a head gasket. Somehow or another, coolant started mixing, I say mixing oil, but coolant started getting into the combustion chamber. I had some white smoke coming out of the tailpipe. Actually ended up, when I took the heads off, found out that this middle cylinder over on this side was cleaned. So obviously the cylinder on this side was the one that had the issues with the head. I mean the issue with the head gasket. But I'm hoping that hopefully we won't have that issue anymore. Alrighty. Now the only issue that I'm having with these headers is I made them so big that quite literally the only way, well not the only way, but the almost the only way for you to actually get the nuts on them is I had to get these very specialty nuts right here. These are ARPs. They are a 12 millimeter in diameter, as far as, like, you know, whatever type of socket you would use, but they are also still big enough to fit over the stud. So when I was able to find these, that was a huge bonus. Unfortunately, they only came in a pack of 10, so wasn't really a whole lot that I could do in terms of, I didn't want to order a whole nother set of 10 when I only need a total of 12. And these things were not cheap at all, guys. Not cheap at all. I'm thinking, I can't remember the exact number that I paid for them. But you guys can just trust me when I tell you, it was not cheap. Hold on, I need to go grab a, oh, I see some of y'all in the chat, man. I'm putting some JWT cams in it. They are the C9 for the intake, and I got some RZ1 for the exhaust. RZ1 has some crazy, like, 300 degrees of duration, and the C9s has, I believe, 11.3 millimeters of lift, but I'm not entirely sure. I did do a video on it. I know that it's a very high lift cam because I actually had to trim out some of the interior. Matter of fact, I'll take you guys over here so you can see before I get over here and start putting stuff back together. I actually had to trim out some of the interior of the head just so that the cams would clear. You guys can see I also had to do it on this side as well. But yeah, man, it's going in. Many of you guys that are on the live right now may not have seen it. So this is my Camaro. We do plan on putting LS3 427 in this because the current LS3 is blown. The bottom end is completely gone. So we will be putting LS3 in this for sure. What's going on, Humphreys? I see you, buddy. But this is the car that is going in. Now, before you guys come for me in the comments, I know this is a Nissan Maxima, but not only is it a sleeper, also, I love this car. It was the car that my parents were able to get me, my first car that I got. This is my dad's Corvette right here. And hopefully the quality of the video isn't horrible because our Wi-Fi kind of sucks out here in the country, guys. But this was the first car my parents were able to get me. I absolutely love it, man. I do want you guys to see real quick what I have done with the exhaust. And remind you, this thing does shoot flames. So, you know, originally the exhaust might come out the bottom right here. I did do a little bit of custom exhaust work myself. Made it come out right here in the center. Well, it's going to be the center of the bumper. I do have the bumper off right now, so that I can not only make the exhaust, but also sort of testing everything, seeing what might be able to fit, what might not be able to fit. But yeah, this thing, it sounds insane, trust me. And I love it. And I did do a manual swap on it. If you guys haven't seen that, make sure that you go check it out. The manual swap was pretty cool. And for those of you that don't watch the channel, again, this is my 2017 Yamaha FZ10. You guys can see I'm into the bike content and the car content, man. I do best of both worlds. The only thing that we don't do here is trucks. So one of these days that might change. Let me sit you guys back up so that we can start back building this engine. Once again, guys, for those of you just coming in, if you like car content, make sure that you guys subscribe. Hold on, I need to get a bolt real quick. Let's see what we got. This ought to work. Now I do have a set of cams and a set of heads over here that's going to be going up for sale. Let me see if I can show you guys real quick while I'm thinking about it. These are going to be ported, polished, oversized Ferrera valves in them, as well as some Manley valve springs infrared, what are these called? Lifters or retainers, excuse me. So if you guys would like a set of cams, yeah, well, here are the cams right here. These are Tomei, sort of like mid streetable cams. I think it's like a 266 degrees of duration, 10.8 millimeter lift cam. If you guys are looking for a set of real nice DE heads or a set of sort of mild streetable cams, you guys let me know. I'm interested to see how this thing is going to sound. It's a whole lot more that goes with it. Like this right here has the paddle wheels that you use for your cam timing. Like I mentioned, guys, I did have to do a little bit of trimming. Was working with the guys out in California at JWT, just making sure that since my engine is built, I do have some valve recess in the piston. So I wanted to make sure 400 horsepower. I'm hoping for 400 horsepower naturally aspirated, Brody. When I got the whole build done, the whole 4.1 liter structural build done, and I'm about to go back over here, so I might not be able to see what you're saying in the chat, but if you just know that I do try to reply to all comments. So anything else that you might have, I'll make sure that I try to respond to it if you comment. But when I first got the build done, I had a set of eBay headers. Not only eBay headers, but a full eBay exhaust system, which was, and I didn't know this until I actually took it apart, extremely restrictive. But I had the eBay exhaust system. I had those cams that I just showed you guys, as well as the heads that I just showed you guys. And I also had a 2010 Nissan Maxima intake manifold, as well as a 5-speed automatic in the car. With this setup, we do have a set of HR heads, and I have ported and polished these. I might show you guys what the inside of the ports look like later on. I absolutely love them. I think I did a really good job with the porting on it. Didn't polish it a whole lot because it is port injection, so you want that fuel to be able to atomize. I know there's a lot of debate on that. Somebody said that I should have polished it to a mirror finish. I think I'll be okay. But we do have a set of HR heads, like I mentioned, those massive cams. We do now have a legit exhaust system with these 2-inch headers, as well as a dual 2.5-inch exhaust out the back that I just showed you guys. And we also have the 6-speed swap now. So I'm hoping for 400 horsepower to the wheel. It made right around 330 to the wheel prior to the cylinder heads, the cams, the exhaust, and the 6-speed swap, as well as this manifold. I didn't even show you guys. I do have this massive high ram manifold. Let me see if I can grab it. I almost forgot about this. This is a new addition right here. High ram manifold. It is a custom build from the guys at NIS Formance. They handle mainly with front wheel drive Nissan stuff. So they did have a high ram option. They said they've seen anything from 30 to 50 horsepower gain on the top end with this manifold. So I'm hoping that with all these upgrades, massive cams, exhaust and everything, I'm hoping that we'll see some pretty nice gains. But as with all car stuff, you sort of just gotta wait and see, bro. Like you can do like the most work to cars, and then at the end of the day, not make the power that you're hoping you'll make. And this build is pretty much maxed out. Like I said, we got cams, we got ported heads, we got an intake manifold, exhaust, we got 6-speed swap. There's really not a lot more. These mosquitoes are gonna piss me off. There's really not a lot more that we can do to this build, except for add nitrous, which might be coming in the future. You guys have to stay tuned for that. Okay, there we go. All right, now, baby, don't move on me. Now, for those of you asking why I'm working on this engine on the floor, funny enough, I do have an engine stand. I don't know if you can see it back there in the background. Only reason I'm not using it is because with the JWT lightweight flywheel that's on this for the 6-speed swap, it was impossible to fit the engine on the engine stand with that flywheel up there. So I did not feel like taking that flywheel off. It was already difficult enough to put it on, torquing it down because in order for you to torque the flywheel down, whenever you're trying to twist, it wants to turn. So you got to have something holding the crank while trying to also turn it. I just didn't feel like doing that. So I threw a new clutch in here, upgraded clutch that's supposed to be able to handle 495 horsepower. Threw the upgraded clutch in here, slapped the transmission back on, and I just said, you know, to hell with it. I'll work on it on the floor. So hopefully, I'm not saying it is easy, but I think this is not as bad as it would have been if I, you know, was trying to take everything off and put it on the engine stand. All right, we're getting there. Now I'll go through and torque all these one more time. The only downside is it's not a heavy engine at all. Like, I'm not saying that I'm Superman and I could lift this thing up right now with the engine and transmission, but this full combo might weigh, I don't know, probably right around, I'd say maybe 500 pounds or so. Because you got to think, this is all aluminum. This is all aluminum. So it probably weighs right around 500-600 pounds. That's about the weight of my motorcycle over there. So not a heavy engine at all. We got some spider webs over here, buddy. Hopefully I don't have no spiders crawling on me. What I wish is I had my battery charger for my freaking impact gun, because I left my battery charger at my apartment. I'm at my parents' place right now, and I left my battery charger for my impact gun at my apartment. So unfortunately, I'm having to deal with it. Alrighty. All right, buddy. There we go. Those of you guys that are still here, I thank y'all for joining. I need to get a swivel extension. Last thing I want is for this exhaust to be leaking. That's why I had to order these bolts, as well as new gaskets, because I didn't feel like dealing with an exhaust leak. Let me see if I can find my swivel extension, see if anybody else is in the chat. I see you, boy. Am I going to lock out the variable cams, or are you going to run it? No, I'm going to run it. From what I heard talking to Clark at JWT, I should be able to run this system as is, because I do have the valve relief in my pistons. Said it looks very similar to the V6. I don't know what the 3.0 V6 for the Fords look like. So I couldn't tell you that, buddy. But yeah, I'm gonna run it just with the variable system on the intake, because my car, being that it's the first, the ECU is only compatible for variable valve timing on the intake. I don't have the exhaust cam variable valve timing, so we're only going to be running on the intake. Hopefully we don't run into any issues. Whenever I get the chain on, I am going to spin 2 times, make sure that we don't have any clearance issues. If we do, that'll be bad. What routes do you have? What routes do you have? What stroker kit? So the stroker kit is technically a Brian Crower stroker kit. Give me 1 second, buddy. Let me grab this swivel joint real quick. It's technically a Brian Crower stroker kit, but their kit is like $5 grand. I think it's like 5 or 6 grand. I just wasn't willing to spend that much money on a stroker kit just for a street car. Like, I mean, I might do some track or some drag racing with this car, but it's not gonna be anytime soon, and it's not gonna be serious to where I'm like actually competing. So what I decided to do to try to make it a little bit easier on myself was I found a 370Z crankshaft, because the 370Zs, for those of you that don't know, the 3.5 liter that you find in the 350s, the G35s, is a similar structure to the 3.7 that you find in the 370s, the G37s. So for the stroker kit, the crankshaft is 86 millimeters, I believe, of stroke. And the crankshaft for the 370Z was an 86 millimeter crankshaft. So what I decided to do to save myself a few $1,000s was I bought a used crankshaft for like $300. I got the crankshaft custom ground because the journals is the journal diameter on the crankshaft is a little bit different for the VQ35 versus the VQ37. So I got the crank custom ground. That way that the crankshaft journals would fit in my block, and that way the main caps, the rods, and all that would fit just fine. And then I also had to get it turned just a little bit so that it would fit in the bottom of the block in the actual oil pan and everything like that. So I had to do a little bit of custom work on the crankshaft. Even with that being said, I still came out at under $1,000 in total for the crankshaft and the work that I got done to it, which in my personal opinion is better than the $3,000 I would have paid for a crankshaft from Brian Crower. As far as, hold up guys. As far as the rest of the kit, the rods were American Eagle, I believe. I was able to source those on Amazon, and the pistons are CP Carrillo pistons. I had to buy those straight from Brian Crower just because there's nowhere for you to sort of buy alternative pistons. You sort of have to buy those custom for the kit. So, and I believe I have ACL rod and main bearings and all ARP hardware. The bottom end has a Journey billet girdle so that it holds a little bit more stiffness for the block. And then, like I mentioned, all ARP hardware. So we got head studs, we got girdle studs as well. All the good stuff, guys. All the good stuff. So the engine should be pretty bulletproof in my personal opinion. But like I said, I blew a head gasket. And another thing with this kit, let me see if I got any more comments. Yeah, you got a 4th gen. Nice, my boy. Nice. The 4th gen ain't too bad either, man. I'm a big fan of the 6th and 7th gens, but 4th gens ain't too bad either. With this kit, if you're going to make it a 4.1 liter kit, you do have to find something to do as far as your cylinders. So I do have Darton sleeves in here. Now, from talking to guys with a little bit of experience, these sleeves are extremely difficult to get to work with this block. I'm not sure if that's why I blew a head gasket, because the sleeves are just, from my understanding, like I said, talking with guys that have expertly done this, from my understanding, you almost have to send the block directly to Darton for them to install the sleeves for them to work. I did go to a reputable machine shop, so I'm hoping that the sleeves will be just fine. I'm hoping that's not why I blew a head gasket, but I really won't know. I just really won't know. So I'm going to do everything that I can. We do have a stronger head gasket. I had a Cosworth gasket at first. I went with a Cometic gasket that does have a fire ring around the actual cylinder. So I'm hoping I won't have any more issues with it. But there's really nothing I can do. He said, I'm having to replace my head gasket. What are a couple tips you can give in regards to making sure you get it done right the first time? In all honesty, Brody, I'm gonna take y'all with me because I got to head to the car real quick. In all honesty, the best tip that I can give you is to just take your time. Doing a head gasket is not a difficult thing. It's literally pulling one gasket off, putting the other one back on. You might want to make sure that your two mating surfaces, as far as torquing, well, let me get to that. You might want to make sure that your two mating surfaces are as clean as possible whenever you put the gasket on. But generally speaking, for torquing, you can find different forums online, different stuff from the actual manufacturer that'll end up coming with different torque specs and everything like that. I think enginespecs.com I believe has real good stuff. At least I think that's the name of it. I can't quite remember. But they have real good stuff as far as specs and everything for a lot of different engines. Like for mine, you have to torque it down to a certain level, then loosen all of the head bolts, and then torque them down to another level and do 2 different rounds of 90-degree turns. That's not anything that you would know unless you're able to look it up. And like I mentioned, the hardest thing about doing any type of engine building is just making sure that you take pictures, remember where stuff goes. As long as you do that, you should be fine. And actually, just so you guys can see real quick, let's see what we got. I have the service manual. Just don't get the 90-degree turns and all that. So from my understanding, I think that the 90-degree turns are for what they call the stretching of the bolt. So whenever you torque down an engine, of course the thread is going to torque down to a specific number, but then most manufacturers want to get that bolt to stretch out. Why not throw it into a 7th gen? Hold on, buddy, I'll get to that in a second. Most manufacturers want to get that bolt to stretch out a certain amount, whether that's in millimeters or thousandths of an inch or whatever the case is, just so that you can get the full clamping force out of it. Now, in my application, I probably could have done something different because I do have ARP, and my camera is horrible right now. I do have ARP studs instead of the OEM bolts. So, I mean, in all honesty, that's the main reason for the 90-degree turns, at least from what I've been told. It's just so that you get a little bit more stretch out of the bolts to give you the maximum clamping force. And I just don't believe that you get that just by torquing down. Hopefully that answers your question. Why not throw it in a 7th gen or dry swapping the 710 ECU and all that into a 6th gen? That's just too much work, buddy. For me to throw it into a 7th gen. And also real quick, I want to show you guys, here's the timing cover. And those are the variable cam gears. And I did get some Nissan GTR spark plugs. Guys, I made a short on this. No problem, my boy Justin. I got you, my boy. Anytime you need some help, send a comment down in the description, buddy. I got these GTR spark plugs, guys. These things were $16 a piece. That is insane. Absolutely insane. $16 a piece, buddy. We actually need to take all this stuff in there. Oh, my bag ripped. That ain't good. So the reason why I'm not swapping it into a 7th gen is because for me to do that, buddy, I would quite literally have to, for one, go and buy a clean 7th gen. And then I would have to then do all the labor and stuff to get it in there. probably do a little bit more research and development to make sure that stuff works and fits the way that it should. Because this whole build has been based on my car, like the first one. So for me to, the Denzos are more than that. Yeah, the Denzos, well actually NGK had another set, bro, that were $26. $26 a piece. And of course I could have went with just a regular old Maxima or regular old Altima spark plugs, but I think that the GTR spark plugs are supposed to be a little bit more suited for my high compression build, which is why I went on ahead and went with the oh, my dad's pulling up. That's why I went on ahead and went with the GTR ones, just because I think they're a little bit more suited for the high compression, high horsepower build that I'm doing. Yeah, the 26 ones were ridiculous. But yeah, bro, this whole build has been based around my car. So for me to go ahead and try to do that and swap it into a 7th gen, that would just take too much work, bro. Plus, with the 7th gens, you can't get a 6-speed manual. Like my car, and I'll show you guys the manual trans. For my car, they did make them with automatic over here. It is for sale, 2004 through 2006 Nissan Maxima. It is for sale if anybody wants it. For the 6 gens, they did actually make them in manual. So me doing the swap was a whole lot easier, you know, finding the cables, finding the transmission, all the components for, like, you know, the clutch, all that type of stuff was easy. You got to do almost everything completely custom if you're gonna do that type of swap in a 7th gen. You got to do everything completely custom. And personally, after having the driving experience of the 6-speed manual in this, there's no way that I would willingly go back to a 5-speed. What's going on, Mom?
What's going on?
We live, Mom. We live. Yeah, we live. My bad, guys. Gotta say hey to my mom real quick. Y'all see
Hey, guys.
She looking beautiful today.
Thank you very much, son.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You about to head over to grandma's?
No, I'm getting ready to go to Pig.
Okay.
I'm cook some.
Okay.
You want some steak?
Yeah, that'd be fine. I'll be here for a little while. Yeah, y'all know how it be with the moms, man. Let's see if we can start trying to get these things on. But yeah, so that's the main reason why I'm not worried about doing the 7th gen swap. Just because, like I said, especially with the manual and everything, buddy, it's just too much hassle to try to figure out something to put the manual in. That's like a legit custom build right there. But what we are gonna do is try to go ahead and get this timing cover on. So I need to get a few different things. The headers are on. I did tighten all these bolts, so I think we'll be good as far as the headers go. But we still have a lot of work to do because we still need to loosen it. We still gotta set timing. We still gotta put gasket maker. In all honesty, I probably should have already put the gasket maker because you're not supposed to put the gasket maker onto the mating surface directly, you know, after you put it on whatever you're trying to mate. You're supposed to let it sit up a little bit and get a little tacky. So I probably should have put it on the other timing cover, but I'll do that in a second. I'm gonna have to get a garage, guys. When I get my own house, I'm gonna have to get a garage so that way I gotta get something big enough to close stuff up the way that the bugs don't be messing with me. I'm not a big fan of bugs, but you guys can probably tell that. Whew, okay. All right, we got the front cam caps off. And now we need to put the actual tensioners and stuff on. Now hopefully these are the right tensioners. I did order the right tensioners, I believe. Hopefully they actually sent me the right ones. So we'll see how that goes. Alrighty. And I need to, this one's gonna go on this side. Yeah, like that. Yep, this how it's gonna go. Okay. Oh, buddy. Here are my bolts right here. Oh man, let me see something real quick. Hold on guys, we back. I need to get a something that's gonna fit in here. This one right here. Hey, son. Where was something? There we go. Alrighty. Alrighty, let me put it over here real quick. Phone looking kind of hot, buddy. Oh, guys, my phone look like it's starting to die a little bit. I'm gonna try to see what I can get done on this build. I might go back live here in a little bit, guys. So y'all just stay tuned. If you see the notification pop up, you know that we're getting a little bit farther. I'm probably gonna let my phone cool down before I start back on it. But thank you guys for watching. If you like the car content, man, make sure that you guys can subscribe. But we'll be back with it. I'll catch y'all.